Okay. I like Josh Brolin a lot. He of all the belligerent alcoholics in Hollywood, he's one of my favorites. Um, I, I
We just lost you again. I can't hear you. I don't know what's going
me.
on.
Yeah, your sound keeps cutting out.
I'm sorry. You got me now?
Take your dick off the microphone.
Oh, oh.
Sorry, guys.
Keeping it warm. I like Clive a lot. I guess just for me, it was more. I like him as an actor, and I would have liked to have seen him return. Children of Men, he is fucking amazing in that movie.
That movie is fucking amazing. I love that movie.
God, people don't talk about it enough.
That's true. I mean, it's one of those movies that came and went, and that was it.
Yeah.
The oneers in that movie, like on top of how just well done everything else is in that movie, but the one take shots that it's become Alfonso Cuarón's like trademark at this point with Gravity and stuff, like it's just like breathtaking, and it works so well that you don't realize that it's even going on until you get like 5 minutes into the sequence and you're like, they have never cut away from this. Like we've been over this guy's shoulder the entire time. It's just amazing. It's a little showy in some of the car scenes, but a lot of that stuff felt really organic.
That's like Touch of Evil, where at the very beginning of Touch of Evil, there's a long one shot. I love that movie. That's actually my favorite Orson Welles movie.
That's an amazing movie. Or like, and not that the movie is good, but it is a good movie, but it's not an amazing movie. But the technical aspect of it is amazing. Hitchcock's Rope, where they found all those ways to like string all these scenes together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there is an element too with those oneers that are, if it's done effectively, it doesn't feel showy. If you do, if you use one correctly in a movie, it's a fast.
Damn it! Every time he goes to say something interesting, his audio cuts out. And we miss all of it. It looks like you're being censored by the government or something. Like all of a sudden.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
What was the last thing you heard?
You said the thing about the oneers is
with
so when it's done really well, it looks good. It's it's like organic or whatever.
It feels natural. And there are times that you can fake it, and it works just as well. The shot in the movie Blowout, where John Travolta is in the film lab.
Oh, right.
And it's spinning. It's that slow, continuous spin. And it feels very organic and natural. And, I mean, obviously, there was an editing trick there. But to have those continuous shots or one that looks like one, it really does. It does enough to draw you in.
Yeah, that's De Palma doing his best, because that actually is a favorite Travolta film when it comes down to it. Travolta's not trying to act like he does later in life.
Right. Yeah.
There was like a point, right, where like I blame Scientology because it kind of happened to Tom Cruise too. Like, like all of a sudden it was like, why are these guys acting so weird? Like they used to be naturals. Like what happened here?
Well,
religion.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like once Pulp Fiction was over with and John Travolta started shaving his head, the actors all became one-dimensional.
Yeah. Real quick on the oneers. I had something to say about the one. I think the guy who's the best at doing it and you don't even notice it is Spielberg. And the one I always think of is in Jaws when they're getting on the ferry. And you're literally on the entire ferry ride when he's talking to the, I'm trying to remember who it is.
Oh, right.
Brody's talking to the mayor, I think.
Yeah, he's talking to the mayor. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're literally, there's no movement other than the ferry. You come onto the ferry, that conversation takes the length of the ferry. It gets to its destination on the other side on the island on Amity, and then like they get off the ferry. But it's kind of amazing. Like even the timing is just amazing. Like it makes you wonder how many times they had to do that and change the lines and stuff like that to get to line up properly.
So true. Yeah.
But you don't even notice that one, and he has a ton like that where you don't even notice that's what's happening.
You took the long way around saying that I sound like Richard Dreyfuss.
That was going to be my by the way.
By the way, you sound like Richard Dreyfuss. Now, all we need is some mashed potatoes.
Super guy.
I love Jaws, but my favorite is Close Encounters.
Oh yeah,
movie.
You know, and when you see him lose his mind, and he's like, "This means something." He's all tearing bushes out of the neighbors' yards and throwing everything through the kitchen window.
Sculpting mashed potatoes and
sculpting mashed potatoes. You know, that's like my favorite scene, and I've watched all three. I got all three versions on Blu-ray, and it's like the 1977 version, the 1980 special edition, and the 1992, I think it was, director's cut. And I'm with the original because they cut that scene out in the 1980 special edition.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that's weird.
So I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, you don't get to see him lose his mind, dude. That's like the most important scene.
Defining scene.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I just watched this piece of classic film called Spaced Invaders.
Okay.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Yes.
And there's a scene where the alien spacecraft blows by a police officer in his car. And I never noticed this as a kid, maybe because I was watching on like shitty VHS or whatever. But like he sunburns the half of the cop's face, which is what happens to Dreyfuss in Close Encounters, right? Like this weird reference to that movie that I never noticed before. By the way, Space Invaders is actually awesome. That movie held up.
Yeah,
I really like that movie.
That was Paul Lamette, right? That was in that movie?
You know what? Honestly, I'm not sure.
Was that Paul Schrader? Is that who it was?
I don't think Paul Schrader directed Space Invaders. Man, I would love to see Paul Schrader's Space Invaders, though.
Paul Schrader's Mac and Me.
There you go. Brian De Palma's Goonies.
Hey man,
we'll get split screens in this bitch.
We'll get Michael Caine to play the big Goonie guy, you know.
Sloth.
Sloth. But he'll be in drag.
God, I wish I could do a Michael Caine impression.
Lithgow plays One-Eyed Willie for some reason.
Who's just dead?
Yeah.
He's just to get onto the ship.
And still people are like, Lithgow was amazing.
See how dead he looked? I couldn't believe it. Most believable dead guy ever.
So I want to ask you guys a couple of kind of like a lightning round of questions. They're just some weird questions I come up with, you know.
Fire away.
Okay. What's the weirdest rumor you ever heard about yourself?
Weirdest rumor I ever heard about myself.
Oh. Pertaining to just anything. Life in general or
anything, whatever.
Okay. There was a rumor when I was in high school.
This ought to be good.
Yeah. Well, it didn't really. It was like non-applicable. Someone mistook me for a different person that I went to school with, having sex with someone's sister.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, the guy, rather than finding out, was like mad at me, and I was like, look, I didn't know. That's the thing. She wasn't. Well, the story's hot. But he was mad at me, and I was like, I didn't fuck your sister. I can if that helps, but I didn't fuck her.
If you'd like me to confirm this for you, like make this real.
Okay.
And the only thing, as far as like since starting the website and the podcast and everything, they're not necessarily like weirdest rumors, but I usually like I've heard plenty of shit about how like, you know, I take I do favors or whatever for filmmakers. I don't. But I also like I own. If we just cover Dustin, there's no favors being done at all. But I will no longer review Dustin's films, so I can't.
Okay.
I got a bias. So, what about you, Dustin?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I think I'm so oblivious to what anybody ever says about me that I just don't. I'm not sure. I've made up rumors about myself. Like I don't even know why I did it at a convention once. There's a guy at the toe tag table getting ready to buy some of my movies, and I was like, "Whoa, don't buy that guy's fucking movies." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, that guy's a fucking asshole. Like I was at Horror Hound 3 weeks ago, and he fucking just pushed my brother into a wall. He's like, "You kidding me?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I heard he's a fucking pedophile. And so the guy literally was like, "What a fucker!" Like put the movies back and walked away from the toe tag. I like cost them a sale, which is really shitty to do, just because I thought it'd be funny, I guess. But I don't know.
Pretty funny.
I can't. There are like people that hate my balls, but I don't think it's for any. It's probably for real reasons. Like I don't think it's because of rumors.
I don't know, man. Some of the people that hate you just hate you for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, but that's legit.
That works. The rumor you made up about yourself works for me. So, what's your favorite worst movie of all time?
Whoa!
I mean, the one movie that just gnaws at you and says, "God, I can't stand this," but I do watch it like all the time.
God, let me see. Buried Alive? Is that the one with the guy who is clearly like 40, but he's playing a kid? It's an Italian movie. It's
I haven't seen that one.
Okay. Buried Alive, yeah. That's
that one I still like for some reason. Like, when he eats his mom's nipple, like that's very funny to me. God, I don't know. Like I like so much shitty stuff that it's hard to pick I don't know, man, because there are movies that I like that, I look at as like, I don't think they're that bad, and people are like, "Oh, it's campy and shitty." I'm like, really? I own that. I really like that movie.
I actually fall into that category a lot. The same thing. I just love movies, and people are like, "Dude, that movie sucked." It's like, I liked it.
Yeah, you were trying to suggest like a movie to somebody, and like my like least favorite thing to happen is I like am in love with the movie Manborg, which I don't even think qualifies this, but like when I show people Manborg and they don't like shit their pants with joy, I'm really disappointed.
I barely made through 20 minutes of that movie.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
Oh,
dude, you were halfway through. It ain't that wrong. It ain't that long. I'm trying to think of. You could make it through Manborg and you can watch my movies. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. I think there's a Roger Corman movie that Shout put out on Blu-ray, and I watch it over and over and over again, called Forbidden World, not to be confused with Forbidden Planet, which is actually a good movie. And I watched Forbidden World over and over and over and over. But there's a more recent one that I guarantee none of you have seen before. I don't think. It's on Amazon through their Create Space program, called House of Rithidicus. And it was made by like 3 kids. And it is the most bizarre and awkward and hilarious thing I've ever seen. And Dave Parker showed it to me. He's like, "You ever seen Rithidicus?" I'm like, "No." So we watched it, and I instantly, the moment I got home, I like bought a copy. And now I just like to show it to people or encourage them to buy a copy because it's like $10. So anybody watching right now,
of course you're gonna run into these kids at like a convention, and they're gonna go, "You're the one that bought the copy."
Be like, "You're welcome," and then I'll hug them because they're so weird.
We made $10.
But the thing about it's like you can tell that like they didn't have a script; they were all improvising, and none of these kids should be improvising. And it's just, and they all have weird like nervous tics. Like the one kid goes all the time. So there's talk, like there's a part where he's working on a mask. He's like, the guy comes in, he's like, how's that mask going? It's looking really good. Like that. Like a Muppet or something
from South Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so good. It's so fucking good. And there's a part where they're playing frisbee, and in the special features you see why it's like this. They tried it by actually playing frisbee, setting the camera on a tripod and standing far apart and actually playing frisbee, and it wouldn't work because the camera couldn't pick up the audio. So their solution was to stand 2 feet away from each other and just throw the frisbee to each other. Oh my god, it is the best thing ever in the entire world.
Dustin,
Yeah.
Is there like a fart joke in that movie?
I don't think so. Because it doesn't know that it's funny.
Okay. I remember watching on one of those like House of Schlock or one of them, these kids, and they were young. They were probably like 12, 13 years old. And they did they shot their own short film. It's absolute shit. It's not good. But there is a hilarious fart joke in there that I watched back like 4 times because they landed it so fucking perfectly. The audio of the fart, everything was funny about it. And I was like, these 13-year-olds are geniuses.
Well,
like the fart redeemed the entire picture. Like
it did. It was like the rest of it is fucking terrible, but that fart is gold.
well, it looks like the clock on the wall says we are gonna have to wrap up. But before we do, I want you guys to tell everyone where they can go to fund the Tormented film.
It's on IndieGoGo. It's called Her Name Was Torment 2. I think it's still here. If you go to the trending fundraisers, we're like #1 trending in film, I think, right now. So it's pretty easy to find if you get to the site. So it's Her Name Was Torment 2. As long as you throw in at least $5, you get a digital streaming copy of the first movie, so you can catch up on it and kind of see if you want to, invest more into it or whatever. But we have lots of awesome perks and lots of cool people involved. So go watch the videos, read about it. We're trying to make indie horror movie history here, kind of.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw the link down in the description box for the interview, so they can go right there that way.
And one thing too, I want to make sure that we reiterate: go to IndieGoGo.com, look up Her Name Was Torment 2, look at all the perks, watch the video that Dustin posted. This isn't just a lofty idea. This is supporting independent horror. This is keeping underground cinema alive. We have Haley Madison, Allison Egan, Aaron Ryan, Brandon Salkill, Dave Parker.
You can know Dave.
Yep.
Marcus Cook is doing our special effects of 100 Tears. He did the effects for movies like Sweatshop. He's done all kinds of stuff, and so our effects are going to be amazing.
That's really cool.
We've got guys like Adam Albrandt, Zach Showalter, BJ Colangelo helping. It's a huge bunch of people that want to make something great. So please take a look. Please help us keep this thing going.
Yes, please. I mean, I can't say enough. I want you guys to get your goal. I want you to do this movie. I want to see this film, So anything that myself and the guys at the Dorkening could do to help out, we will.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
And thank you for being here.
All right. Take care, guys.
I'm the 13th Wolfman. I'm on the prowl.